I put one girl in the trunk and one in the back seat and stabbed both of them to death. Later that night, I cut both their heads off. I tied her up and suffocated her. I did have sexual relations with her before she died, but after she was unconscious. Last Saturday morning, about 5:15 a.m., I killed my mother. At approximately 7:55 that evening, I killed a friend of hers. He doesn't right to remain silent. Anything you say can move if you look for the law. You understand each of your rights? Yes, sir. Would you tell us the names of the girls in question, what you did with these girls? It's going to be a while.
The rest of the family went upstairs to retire for the evening. I went to the basement, so we had an entire floor of the house between us, and it was very scary. My mother wouldn't allow me any negotiated settlement of light. I couldn't have a night light. It was too expensive. I was making a bargain with demonic forces that I was convinced were going to consume me, somehow do me in. The time was 6'7½". I weighed 173 pounds. They couldn't believe I was under 16. The judge had appointed a psychiatrist. His report was that I was mentally ill, that I was what he called, how did he put that? I was salvageable, that I should be treated and not punished. I wasn't aware of any intelligence. I was being called stupid pretty frequently, and unfortunately was sinking in. So I was very positively impressed and surprised to find out I wasn't mentally defective, literally. I thought I was a slow person.
When I picked them up, I told them I was going to Stanford, which I wasn't. The next day, I stayed home from work and went up to the Santa Cruz area. Buried one of the girls, carved her body without the head. That was the Peterson girl. Then I continued on up to the Loma Prieta area, where I dragged the other body. The Chester girl to a very heavily wooded area. He deposited the body there and backtracked slightly and deposited some incriminating materials, bloody clothing and other personal items. I also deposited both of their heads. I picked her up on University Avenue in Berkeley when she told me she was going to be late for her ballet class. And I told her she wasn't going to make it that night, indicating that I wasn't going to do anything severely wrong with her, that I'm sure she wouldn't be hurt. All the time I intended on killing her. Her name was Cynthia Shaw, and I picked her up on Mission Street, headed towards the Blue Public School. I was going to take her to my mother's home, who supposedly wasn't there. I asked her that she should get in the trunk and she'd be all right. I shot her in the head once. Children. Currently, I'm not a doctor. I had been checking the life signs of my victims, and there was absolutely none.
I was mad that night. My mother and I had a real tiff. I was pissed. I told her I was going to a movie, and I jumped up and went straight up to the campus. And I said, the first girl that halfway decent got picked up, blow her brains out.
About halfway down the hill to the bottom, I slowed down almost to a stop and commented on the view of the city from there. They both commented on it. And while we were looking at that view, I shot both of them. Shot Miss Thorpe, sitting in front first. And I turned and shot Miss Blue. I think I shot 3 shots because the first one missed her head, passing through her hand. The second one grazed her head and knocked her out. The third one I shot through the forehead. Covered their bodies up, one with a coat and one with a blanket. Drove on down the hill with the car behind me at this time, apparently not noticing anything wrong. Drove right past two guards at the bottom of the hill outside the guard's office.
When I drove up to the two officers and stopped, they got very industrious about looking at me, and I used that opportunity to glare at them with that fascist look, like, oh, you fascist pigs, you'd like to shoot me, wouldn't you? I was sort of a bored, annoyed, tired end of the day. I don't need you guys right now, look. And they backed off at that point.
Parked the car out in front at 609 Aorta Street in Naphtos, right on the street I parked it. And later that night at about 11 or 11:30 p.m., I went out to the trunk, opened the lid, and cut both their heads off. The next day, I took, after my mother's work, I took the Sue's body to the house, cleaned her up, and I had sex with her body. And brought both heads in and checked them over, and I found that one of the bullets, the bullet that had killed was still lodged under the skin on the right side of her head, near her temple. So I cut it out. So I decided to take both heads up to the Bay Area and dispose of them as the bodies, as well as the bodies, because I didn't want the police thinking this was someone local. Put one girl in the trunk and one in the back seat, stabbed both of them to death.
Okay, Ed, I'm going to advise you of your constitutional rights. Again, you have a right to remain silent. You're not under any obligation to answer any questions. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You understand each of your rights?
Yes, sir. Just the locations of some of the articles of clothing, personal effects, and the bodies. Took her body into the bathroom, tried to have sexual relations with her. Moved her head, and her arms and her legs, and cut her legs again at the knees.
I was suicidal, very disturbed, grasping out at someone. I had abducted them, and I wasn't going to let them out of the car because I was tired of people walking away from me. And where it might not be realistic to someone who's decided I'm just incarnate evil, there's not much else I can say other than I did surrender, I didn't make it stop. I didn't kill my mother in a rage, I didn't attack her out of some argument. I went out of my way to find her and to kill her, to make sure that whatever cover I had was blown. There was no way I could explain my way out of it. I started pursuing ways out of what I was doing because it was getting totally out of hand.